Well, welcome back to my channel, Blast from the Past Farming. Well, there's not much farming going on, so I'm doing a little project. I'm putting a skywalk between my brooder house and the overnight pen that I had for the ducks and geese. That way they can go in there the summer when it's hotter, so they don't have to be locked up in the brooder house. So I'll put together a few little videos here on this one, and hope you guys like it. So please like and subscribe. Appreciate it. Thanks a lot. Now this is my next little project. For the summertime, I like to have the guineas and the roosters and the hen go in my overnight pen that I built, 15 years ago or 12 years ago, whenever I had the ducks and the other geese. One video I said I traded my goose off and I don't have no more, so I got the 2 guineas, hen, and 2 roosters. So I like to have them out there in the overnight pen, or they can come back into the brooder house, which is an 8x12. I've got an exit door there, and I have an exit door there, and that's because I had 2 different bunches in there and I had a dividing gate, but I no longer need that. So I think what I'm going to do is raise this ramp up with a 2x4 on that end, put that 2x12 that's laying over there underneath this end, kind of level it off a little bit, use these round corn crib tubings for aeration, and go from there across over to here, and then frame it in, and then cut a hole in that netting, and then they can go in the east door, and if they want they can come out that door, then go into the overnight pen this summer when it's hot, instead of being locked up in the brooder house where it's a little hotter. So I think that's my next little project. I'll just have to figure out how I can eventually open and close that door on inclement weather, because that's going to be covered up with that, or have that round corn crib tubing up over it. You can hear the guineas out there out in one of those sheds over there, squawking away. So I'll have to do a little figuring here anyhow. Catch up with you a little later. Well, today is another day. I did a little thinking last night, instead of jumping right into putting those U-shaped corn tunnels across there and then trying to get them all to match up, different heights coming off that ramp. And so I thought, well, I'd have to totally enclose it anyhow, because about 5 years ago I had a mink come up from the dredge ditch west of me, about, I don't know, 1/3 of a mile, shy half a mile, and came up and killed 3 of my ducks. So I'd have to totally enclose that anyhow. So I just walked away from the project, and all of a sudden it popped in my head. I had this 18-inch by 7.5 or 7'9" plastic tube that'll fit just perfectly on that ramp that the cat's on, and go over to the overnight pen, and then just cut a hole in it right there. And then in the center of the bottom I could screw some like a 1x6 down, so that'd be a flat surface and not slippery for them. And then in the winter I can just remove it, and I can use my walk behind snowblower and blow a path over here. Otherwise there was always that longer gate going across here all the time. You always had to step over, and because the goose would always sit right there. But as you know, I traded him off for 2 guineas and a chicken, in which I've got a dozen eggs already from it in 2.5 weeks. So win-win. So I'll do some more thinking, see exactly how I want to finish that up on the netting end of it. The top part won't be hard at all because I gotta just take the hinges off of this door here. Get my shadow in the way. Take the hinges off and the latch off, and then put it on the inside, and then that door will just open into the inside. Then there's plenty of room, and that way I can lock it and unlock it from the inside. And then here, I don't know, I'd have to probably put a wood frame around it of some sort, or a piece of plywood with a hole in it, and attach it from down on the bottom and up to here, and just have a nice hole in it. So we'll see. Do some more thinking on it. So what I decided to do instead of the corn tunnels was use this big kind of like a culvert pipe. Went and got a sheet of plywood, or a small piece of it. Cut it about 3 foot by 3 foot. Cut or marked a 18 3/8 inch circle in it. And that'll give it extra room on. It'll fit in between these ribs right here to hold it in place. And then I split it down the middle, right there, down. So when I get that netting cut out of there, then I can take the right hand side off, slide it into place, and go back. I push the other piece in, and hopefully there's enough slop, because that overnight pin runs on an angle compared to the brooder house. If not, I'll just have to frame it out, no big deal. And then I put the hinges on the inside of the brooder house in the latch for this door. And then on the inside of that overnight pen, I'll stack a bunch of these red silo bricks like this, so they can just go up into that tunnel then. Well, I've got this tube crossing from the brooder house to the overnight pen done. It didn't turn out as pretty as I wanted it to. Like I said, I had to do a little building on it. One of these plywood is in one groove, and the other plywood is in the next groove out. But nonetheless, it's not going anywhere. The door's right behind that end of the tube. I'll just have to shim up a little bit between that post and the tube yet. 1 2x4 ain't quite enough, but pretty close. I'll have to look for some more scraps. And then I'll just have to get my wheelbarrow out and haul some blocks over here from the north side of the big red barn and make a approach up here, or a landing and some steps, which ain't too much. The guineas and chickens will be able to walk right underneath of it. The only bad side of it is now I got to walk all the way around in order to lock them up on the east little door there where that ramp is at night, for now, until it gets warmed up when they can go into the overnight pen. So kind of turned out the way I want it, but it ain't quite as pretty as I wanted it. Like I said, this here's on such a slant. Didn't have any other options, I guess. It'll do for some chickens and a chicken, 2 roosters, and 2 guineas. Excuse me. So I said the guineas and rooster and hen will have run of the whole yard out here, but then at night they always go in by themselves. They'll be able to go in that door, and then they're probably in here. Hi guys, don't want to startle them. It's okay. There they are. And then, like I said, I got this door changed to open on the inside. And there's their tunnel. Wonder why it's so foggy. There. And that goes over to the overnight pen. They'll like that a lot better, especially when it gets hot.